If you enjoy hearing these eerie tales and want more to help you drift off or keep you up at night, don't forget to tap the like button. It really helps the channel grow. I used to work as a night security guard at a storage facility just outside town. It was a quiet job, mostly just sitting in a tiny office, watching grainy security footage and occasionally patrolling the rows of metal units under the flickering fluorescent lights. The place was usually dead silent at night, except for the occasional sound of a rat scurrying between the dumpsters. But one night, something happened that still haunts me to this day. It was around 2:30 a.m. when I first noticed it. A single storage unit, number 304, was slightly open, just enough that I could see the darkness inside. That was strange because I distinctly remembered checking the locks earlier, and everything had been secure. I figured maybe the owner had come by and forgotten to latch it properly, so I grabbed my flashlight and went to close it. As I approached, I got this uneasy feeling, like I was being watched. But I pushed it aside. Just my imagination, I told myself. I reached for the handle, ready to slide the metal door shut when I heard something inside. A soft, shuffling sound, like footsteps moving slowly across the concrete floor. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. My flashlight beam trembled slightly as I aimed it into the darkness. "Hello?" I called out, my voice barely more than a whisper. No response, just silence. I took a step closer, shining my light inside. At first I saw nothing, just boxes stacked along the walls, some old furniture, the usual storage stuff. But then I noticed something in the back, just barely illuminated by my flashlight. A figure. A person standing perfectly still, facing the wall. My stomach dropped. "Sir?" I tried again, my voice shaking now. "You're not supposed to be in here." No reaction, no movement, just standing there. Every instinct in me screamed to get out, but I forced myself to stay. "I'm calling the police," I warned. And that's when it moved, not like a normal person turning around. No, this thing twisted, its head snapping toward me in an unnatural way, like it had been jerked by an invisible force. And then, without making a sound, it rushed forward. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my flashlight as I bolted out of there, slamming the door shut behind me. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely think. I fumbled for my keys, locking the unit as fast as I could. Whatever was inside didn't try to open it. There was no banging, no screaming, just silence. I ran back to my office, locked the door, and called the cops. When they arrived, I took them straight to Unit 304. One officer unholstered his gun while the other unlocked the door. My stomach churned as the metal creaked open. The unit was empty. No boxes, no furniture, no sign that anyone had ever been inside. Just bare concrete walls and a thin layer of dust covering the floor. But the weirdest part? The dust had been disturbed. There were footprints, bare footprints, leading from the center of the unit, right up to where I had been standing. But there were no footprints leading back. I quit that job the next morning. I don't know what I saw that night, and I don't want to know. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still see that figure standing in the dark, and I wonder if it ever really left. A few years ago, I took a job as a house sitter for an older couple who spent their winters in Florida. It was easy money, just keep an eye on the place, water the plants, and make sure everything was in order. The house itself was nice, a little outdated but cozy, sitting on a quiet street with hardly any neighbors. It seemed like a perfect gig. For the first few nights, everything was normal. I'd watch TV, make some food, and occasionally walk around to check the doors and windows before going to bed. But then, about a week in, I started noticing weird things. It was small at first. A chair slightly pulled out from the dining table when I was sure I had pushed it in. The basement door cracked open even though I never went down there. I brushed it off, telling myself I was just being forgetful. Then, one night, I woke up to a noise. It was a soft creaking sound, like footsteps on the floorboards. My heart pounded as I listened, but after a few moments it stopped. I told myself it was just the house settling, but something about it felt off. The next morning, I noticed something even stranger. In the hallway outside the bedroom, there was a long mirror attached to the wall. I barely paid attention to it before, but now, I saw something weird. Fingerprints. Smudged into the glass, like someone had pressed their hands against it. The thing is, I never touched that mirror. That night, I double-checked all the doors and windows before bed. Everything was locked. But again, around 2 a.m., I woke up to a sound. This time, it was closer. Breathing. I held my breath, straining to listen. It was faint but steady, coming from just outside my bedroom door. My stomach twisted as I realized I wasn't alone. Slowly, I reached for my phone and turned on the flashlight. The second the beam hit the door, the breathing stopped. Just dead silence. I stayed frozen for what felt like hours, but eventually, exhaustion took over, and I must have dozed off. When I woke up in the morning, I forced myself to check the house. Nothing was out of place. The doors were still locked. But when I passed the mirror in the hallway, my blood ran cold. There was a new set of fingerprints, higher this time, as if someone had been standing there, watching me sleep. I packed my stuff and left that afternoon. I called the homeowners, made up some excuse about a family emergency, and never went back. They called me a week later, saying their alarm had gone off in the middle of the night. When the police arrived, they found the basement door wide open, but nothing was stolen. Whoever, or whatever, had been in that house wasn't after their belongings. And to this day, I can't shake the feeling that while I was sleeping, someone had been standing just outside my door, listening.